Welcome back. You're watching Morning Live. Thank you for choosing to stay with us on this very special day as we continue with our broadcast. Large part of the 3-hour broadcast this morning is coming from the Northwest, while Yanda Allie-PAine is doing the job first. Throughout the course of this morning, we've been asking you to tweet us the hashtag ANC104 or speak 104 or to speak to us at SABC online. Let's quickly look at some of your tweets and your responses, not only to the celebration anniversary, but also to the January 8th statement that the president is expected to deliver. We heard Jesse Duarte say around 10:30 they're expecting the president this morning to address that. Over 125,000 people expected at the stadium, and millions of us South Africans, of course, we will be watching the screens this morning. And Nkosi Mbele says at SABC News Online, the state of the alliance, corruption, unemployment, poverty. And I think maybe these are just some of the things that people would like for the president to address. Africa wa Azania is talking about what happened this morning when the Premier of the Northwest, Supra Mahumapelo, had a chat to Yanda Allie-PAine. He then, or she challenged him, I should say, and he started singing, and Africa is saying, I didn't know Supra Mahumapelo is such a good singer. Neither did I. Gerard Petse is saying poor leadership, lack of service delivery, corruption, spiraling unemployment, massive crime, poor education, and I think Gerard wants to see maybe some of those issues being addressed in the January 8th statement. We have said since 1972, it's really been a look at the year in advance and what the president and some of the issues he'll be looking at. Just Saying says that man on SABC2, Supra, has been destroying Northwest ever since he came into power. We have been asking you to share your ideas, thoughts, insights ahead of the celebrations today. And then, of course, some from Simza says they must just release the PAC Apla prisoners, then the rest shall follow. That's at Elvis Presley. He's on our channel 404 and on SAFM. And these are just some of the tweets coming and your insights coming through this morning. We do encourage you to continue sharing with them. Give us your insights. Share some pictures and some video if you can. If you're in that part of South Africa, it is hashtag ANC104 or at SABC online. Let's go back to Yanda Allie-PAine, who a little bit earlier spoke to the Secretary General Agwera Mantashe. She's now speaking to the Minister in the Presidency, Mr. Jeff Radebe. Yanda, good morning once again.
Sam, once again, a very good morning to you. Streams of ANC faithfuls are pouring into the stadium. And I mean, to my right, I can see a lot of them passing by. So they might just walk behind me every now and again. And many of them are gravitating towards my guest this morning. He is speaking to us in his capacity as the head of policy in the ANC NEC and not as a minister in the presidency. Just for a moment or two, I'm joined by Mr. Jeff Radebe. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, and welcome.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ayanda, and all your viewers of Morning Live. I'm very happy to be here this morning.
I always try to make the distinction between your duties in the ANC and your duties in government, but every now and again the two kind of meet, and that's where my first question is going to this morning. The ANC January 8th statement, how important is it in terms of ANC policy and what we see manifesting in South Africa in terms of policy here?
Let's put it this way. Without the ANC, there can be no ANC government. That's why all of us, from the president downwards, we are in government because the people of South Africa overwhelmingly voted for the ANC as the ruling party in our country. So this January 8th statement is a statement that is being issued by the president on behalf of the National Executive Committee, indicating the program of action for 2016, giving the line of march to all cadres, leaders and supporters of the ANC what to expect in this year of 2016.
Anything new that we can look at? Anything that will radically change the status quo in a number of policy areas?
Well, I don't want to second guess the president. Is going to be outlining in his the statement of the National Executive Committee. But obviously, one of the burning issues in South Africa is the issue of this radical economic transformation of the economy, so that we can be able to ensure that we bring the majority of South Africans, especially the youth, because as we know, the majority of South African people are women, especially the young people of this country. So we need to give hope to them that the future is in their hands.
I'm glad you touched on hope. Let's speak a little bit about our state-owned enterprises and the policy direction surrounding that, and also the goings on that's there. Where are we going when it comes to that? Because I mean, every other day you read about something that's going wrong at the SAA or in one of the other parastatals. Speak to us about that.
Well, if you look at the state of state own enterprises. Look at Eskom, for example. We had challenges in the past, but we can see with the appointment of Brian Molefe, we are seeing Eskom moving from strength to strength. As we celebrated about a month ago, more than 100 days of no load shedding. So we should not always look at them as challenges, but as opportunities of doing better in South Africa, so that we can be able to bring about a better life for the people of South Africa.
Now, often when you do interviews, the journalist always has questions that they want to shoot at you, but I also believe that the guest has something that they would like to say. South Africa is watching now, those who are supporters of the ANC and those who are not. What is it that you would like to say to them this morning?
Well, they should be rest assured that this 104-old organization is there for the people of South Africa. The president is going to be outlining the thinking of the leadership of the ANC and giving the line of march to all supporters of the organization to give hope that in 2016, despite the challenges that we are having, we are striding ahead to bring about that radical economic transformation in South Africa, so that the majority of South Africans can be able also to enjoy the fruits of our democracy.
Economic transformation, absolutely pivotal, especially when you look at how it feeds into so many other things. You know, the triple challenge of poverty, inequality, unemployment, it all rests on our economic conditions. So it brings me to the rand. How are we going to try and address that? What has the NEC had to say, perhaps, as a word of advice going forward?
Well, I think in general, all of us, we need to rally around the program of the ANC government in order to ensure that all of us, we put our shoulders in the wheel, because we are not an island in South Africa. We live within the global economy. For example, a few days ago, we see how the Chinese currency was going down, indicating and reflecting the global economic challenges that we are facing. But I think we need to be resilient as South Africans. We need to tighten our belt. That's why the president has been emphasizing late last year, including our Minister of Finance, that the issues of fiscal discipline are of critical importance, so that we live within our means as we move forward to charge a new path in South Africa of growth, of development, and of bringing jobs, much needed jobs for our people.
Of course, Mr. Radebe, thank you so much for joining us and for bringing us up to date with that. Of course, one school of thought also suggesting that these race relations that we're seeing are because of inequality, and that perhaps if we deal with that radical economic transformation, then we'll have a sort of level playing fields, and there will be more respect for various races if you come across each other on power, on an equal footing to each other. All right, we continue with this broadcast, but let me send you straight back to Sam Marshall in studio.